Hi, welcome to Banjo Diaries entry number 3. This is February 27th, so I'm going to start by playing what I learned this month, and then I'll talk about it a little bit. So that was the song Cripple, which I learned this month. It was a lot of fun to play. It is not anywhere near where I want it to be. I struggle with perfectionism with music whenever I play music and perform music, and I struggle with only ever listening to the imperfections and to the things that I want to improve on instead of enjoying how far I've come with something and the good that I'm playing. So I'm working on that with banjo because it's trickled over from my other instrument playing. But it's been a lot of fun. And so what happened was my goal for February was to learn 2 new techniques, one being a slide and one being a hammer-on. And I was hoping to incorporate those into the alternating roll and the pinch pattern that I learned in January. So what that sounds like and what that looks like, the slide is going from 2nd fret to 4th fret, and then you would just incorporate it into the, and then the hammer on, or the pinch. So that was my goal for the month, and I was pretty comfortable with that after about 3 or 4 days in February. And I realized and decided that, you know, having been a cello player for like almost 38 years, I probably am just going to be a little bit on the fast track for certain things that I try to do on banjo, because there are certain skills that are similar, and playing on strings with my left hand is a skill that I have already. So even though I'm not used to chords and chording, and I'm not used to, fretted instruments, I can still do things with my left hand. So I decided to kind of abandon the original schedule that I set for myself of sort of 1 lesson a month and taking it really slow, and just to trust my gut on when I was okay and comfortable moving on and when I needed to really not move on and work on something. So I ended up watching several more videos from Mr. Pankey's 10 video Learn to Play Bluegrass series, and that's how I learned this song. And I needed a couple other skills to do this song. So one of the things I needed was a C chord, so I learned a C chord. I can play the song also without a full C chord. At the beginning, I can just hit the top 2 notes. But I decided, since a C chord is going to be something that's used a lot in music, that I just wanted to learn it right off the bat and get comfortable to landing it. Because like I said, I don't play an instrument where I have to land chords a lot. So I do the full C chord in this piece, even though it's not really necessary, just for practice. I was fine with hammer-ons and slides. This piece also has a slide from 2nd to 5th fret at the beginning. And what happens with a slide or a hammer-on, which is kind of cool, is with your right hand, you're plucking or striking the string 1 time, but you hear 2 things from that one motion with your right hand. So like you hear the initial note, and then you hear where you end up. Or with a hammer-on, you pluck once and you hear 2 pitches, right? or you pluck once and you hear and I think that's neat with banjo. It's kind of like a twofer. You're doing one thing with your right hand, but you're getting two pitches with your left. So I learned the C chord, I learned the 3 fret slide, and then this piece, the middle section of this piece, this part, sorry. That part uses what's called a forward and reverse roll, and that part I'm not sure is even technically really part of Cripple Creek, but another instructor on YouTube that I watched uses that as a variation just to mix up the piece in the middle, and I thought it sounded so fun I wanted to learn it. So it's more a lick from, or a melody pattern from a piece called Banjo in the Hollow. But anyway, so that, a forward and reverse roll, I was practicing that anyway because Mr. Panky had me practicing that in one of his subsequent videos, and that is where it sounds like this. Okay, so that part in the middle is a variation of that. You hit the 5th string first instead of the 3rd string first. So it was fun, so I did that. And then this is apparently a lick that comes in a lot of bluegrass pieces. Oops, sorry. Now I can't do it. Okay, there it is. There it is, sorry. I'm only 2 months into this instrument, so it is not flawless. So anyway, you do those forward and reverse rolls and then an alternating roll. And so that's what I enjoyed a lot about this month, was learning how to combine all of these different skills and elements that I practiced independently and use pieces of them to construct a whole entire song. So I like the going back and forth between, even at the very beginning of Cripple Creek, you have a little bit of a reverse roll, and then you have a forward roll, and then a pinch. So I just really like that. I think that it's interesting to learn how to combine elements. Hold on a second. And I think that is going to be helpful moving forward, to understand that you can include an alternating roll right next to a forward and reverse roll, right next to a slide, hammer-ons and things like that, to construct a piece, to build a piece. I still have to learn an official forward roll. It's different somehow from a forward and reverse roll, so that's on my docket soon. And then I did learn several variations to try to make Cripple Creek not as monotonous and repetitive. So because the original version, or the version that I learned first, is with the slides. It exclusively uses slides and hammer-ons and open strings. And so then I learned how to do a pull-off, so you can vary it up. So a pull-off is where you play the string and then pull off of it after you've plucked it. Again, you do one thing with your right hand and you hear 2 things with your left hand. Or there's this version. And then the one I'm struggling the most with is a 3-2 pull off, which I love the sound of it when I do it slow. I love the sound of it. But it's really hard for me to do it up to speed in the piece. For some reason, pulling from 2 to 1 is much harder than pulling to an open string for me. So I'm going to work on that. I want to get that better in the piece. So that's kind of what I did. I just played around with the piece with variations, with how to change it up a little bit. And I'm having a lot of fun still. So my goal for March, I have 2 goals for March. I want to keep working on Cripple Creek because it is not clean yet, and I want to get it cleaner. So hopefully in another month I'll be able to play it for you and it'll sound different than it just sounded. And then my other goal is to start learning my second piece, which I have decided is going to be a piece called Blackberry Blossom. It is a piece that I've always loved. When I was first dating my husband, when I was 24, he gave me a CD called Son of Rounder Banjo, because I talked back then about how much I liked the banjo. And I think track 3 on that CD is a piece called Blackberry Blossom, and it was my favorite right off the bat, and I've always liked it. I think it's a fiddle piece actually, but it sounds neat on the banjo, and it incorporates a similar technique to the melodic. So I think it's a logical next step after learning how to do some of that melodic picking. So those are my goals. I'm going to work on Blackberry Blossom, and I'm going to clean up Cripple Creek, try to get that 3-2 pull-off cleaner, not hit strings that I don't want to hit, just keep a steady tempo with it. Yeah, so that's where I am. I'm still having a lot of fun, and I hope that you could hear a little bit of a difference in what I'm able to do, and hopefully that will continue. And I will see you next month as a more accomplished banjo player. Bye.